welcome to the channel. What we're going to look at today is some more of the Twilight 2000. You notice we've got a nice shiny new title sequence which is now specific for Twilight 2000. What we're going to look at though today is something a bit different. We've in the past looked at the player's manual and how the game goes and the background. We're actually going to look at something I've not seen anybody look at yet. We're going to look at the referee's manual. Now, the referee's manual is far less complete than the player's manual. There are only 4 chapters and we don't have the contents page, which makes me really anticipate what's coming next. I'm quite looking forward to seeing what's in the final version. But we're going to look at one of their concepts that I think is quite nice. They've got scenario sites. Now, don't worry, there will be no spoilers if you're going to play this, but I'm going to look at the basic concept. These are different to encounters. The encounter charts we'll look at in another review, but the idea behind a scenario site is basically that these are places that the players can visit. Now, it talks about trying to draw players to them. If you've got anything like the players I've had in the past, they will go off in their own completely random direction and they won't go there. Okay, fair enough. We'll change things and we'll bring it up later on, and it actually advises you that's worth doing. The book says, I'll pick up some of the bits and pieces from it, the PC should always have knowledge of 2 or 3 scenario sites within 5 to 10 hexes of their position to offer them some choices. I like the fact that you're offering them choices. If you were desperate to get one in as a referee, one of the tricks I used to use was I would have 3 completely different rumours for 3 completely different places, but in reality they were all the same one, so the illusion of choice at least. Now, it does say that most of these can be put anywhere. There's only one provided with this. There will be more in the final game, so we'll see what we get with that. It does say you might need to tweak them. We'll look at that in a minute. And the idea is it's a very small area. It says ideally you're looking at about 200 to 150 metres, so it's a small area where they're going to come across something. We're not going to get one for somewhere like Warsaw or Krakow. Instead, what you'd get would be something that could be dropped into those. So there's going to be 4 altogether, and more will appear in future modules, it says. And it also talks about how you develop it. Now, they've used a standard format, which I think is quite good. You get an overview. So this is what it looks like as they're approaching. A list of rumours that they may have heard about the situation. The situation itself, what's really going on, which is often quite different to what the players know. Arrival, so what happens when the players arrive, how are they received. A countdown, so we actually have specific events that will occur if the players don't do things to change them. And the location, and it says there will generally be about 10 to 15 places within the site. And it will typically be the size of 2 battle mats, so we're looking at A3 size. There's then all the NPCs, giving all the details of them. It says typically these will be 5 to 10, and then the events that can occur. So that's a useful little guide for referees when you're writing your own. And I have a feeling that when the final version of the rules come out, there will be an awful lot, because there will be an open gaming license for this. I think there will be an awful lot that will be put out on web pages and sold through the site. I personally am going to write some. I've been quite inspired by this one, so we'll have to have a look. So the one we've got within the rules is the prison. So actually I'm not going to give details for it. What they have done very usefully is they've given you it is for a Polish setting, but what they've also done then is put all the details in for Swedish settings, putting alternative names in, alternative equipment and so on. There's some nice little prose text. I'll read the overview, so this, remember, is what they see when they arrive. Off a long broken ribbon of highway concrete stands a mid-60s built prison, surrounded by surprisingly well-tended fields. Its guard towers are topped with machine gun emplacements. Its sally port closed and locked. Behind tiers of razor wire, tall crops grow, and above the main entrance is a giant crucifix made of I-beams welded together. To your relief, no one hangs upon it, but a look through your binoculars reveals what appears to be shackles among the spreading rust. they shine as if taken care of. That's quite a nice little overview. That's really, when you hear that, you're getting ideas already. It has a set of rumours, and I'll pick one of them. We'll pick the second one, chosen at random. I don't even remember which one that is yet. So, an excellent military surgeon works at the former prison in the area. If someone is gravely wounded, she's their best hope. Useful if you've got a character who's carrying a bad injury, and the rules for recovering things will actually really benefit from that. So the situation then, it talks through what's going on within the prison. It links it into the Operation Reset, which is overarching everything. It doesn't give me a lot of detail on resetting deliberately, and it explains what's going on. It then talks about the arrival, so what the people at the prison will actually do. Okay, it is actually, I'll give a little away in that it is a former prison, and it's now being taken over by a religious order. Now it talks about what's going on countdown wise. It talks about what the Soviet troops in the area are doing, what the local troops are doing. Very nicely, it brings back somebody from the first edition, from Free City of Krakow in first edition, and it's a lovely little cameo. It's not essential to the plot, but it is very, very nice, and it's a lovely nod for those who actually have the first edition. So it explains what's going on, gives various things going on. We then got the locations. It takes you through all the aspects of the prison itself. I did spot one or two little inconsistencies or oddities, and I'm going to put these on the Free League web page, so which on their Dropbox, where they've actually asked for comments. It refers to a T-60 tank. Okay, that's an odd one because that's pre-war. I'm assuming that would probably be a T-62 because the Swedish equivalent is the S-tank, so I'm assuming that that's probably an issue. And one of the characters, I've noticed the pistol changes between two write-ups there, one of his room and one of him, so there is a little inconsistency there, but in all fairness, I've made bigger mistakes when I've been writing sites. So it takes you through all the different locations. So it talks about things like the common area, the offices, the day rooms, the cells, the basement, the guard towers, the different types of field, the sewers. So we've got plenty of them. Gives plenty of information. Explains how many people are there, why they're there, what they're doing. So it's quite nice there. We've got a number of NPCs introduced. The NPCs are fully drawn. I've seen player characters with far less details on there. The statistics are given for them as well. They are very, very simply done. They don't have the cards for motivation that you had in the earlier editions, but the motivations are all explained there, and there's enough opportunity within the scenario for you to change them slightly. Sometimes there are even multiple options. So we've then got a map, and I will put that one up for you to have a look at. It's one of the standard combat maps. It's simple, it's nice. I think it suffers a little that the fields aren't covered in any detail, so you might have to extend it out depending on what happens in the scenario. Okay, fair enough. There's how many characters have we got detailed? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 detailed characters, and these are fully detailed. Altogether within the scenario, potentially there are about 400 NPCs. Not all of them will be used obviously. A lot of them will just be in the background. But there's a lot of intrigue with this. I would suggest, if you're going to referee this, it's well worth going and watching the Name of the Rose, the Sean Connery film, because there's a lot that you could pull and put into this. There's a lot of nice little ideas. See, you've got plenty of detail on all of the characters. and then you get what's going to happen. Now, very usefully, there are actually 4 things that they've put in the events. You could run 1, 2, 3, or all 4. Each one gives what's going to happen, and it also talks about what will happen if the PCs do this, if they do that. It does give some nice touches. Potentially with this could be, depending on which ones you choose, the first event would be quite a lot of combat. It would be quite a large scale battle. That might be interesting. I think that might be something that perhaps I would look at, using bigger rules than the ones within the game. I think what I'd consider is probably using something like 7 Days to the River Rhine to game it out, with the PCs being quite central. What I am going to do at some point is write my own mass combat rules, and that might be something that pushes me towards that. Another one, it would probably take very little combat, but there is a murder involved, and that was the one I thought very much the Name of the Rose might come in. You've also got a change in one of the NPCs. One of the NPCs starts changing, doing different things, and that's quite a nice little one as well. And then the last one is one of the characters does something which can easily tie into some of the other events. It's very difficult to say much with these without giving things away, but in all of them, every single NPC has reasonable reasons for doing things. They all are decently motivated. They've all got reasons behind what they're doing. These may not be rational to us, but to the characters they are. It's all believable. You could easily get multiple sessions out of this, and if this is the standard of what they're going to produce, then I think we're going to see some absolutely fantastic scenarios. I think we're going to see some great opportunities for role-playing, opportunities for combat. Everything is in there, and I think this is a really, really nice scenario. I would say it's not really for a novice referee. I think that it's probably looking at somebody who's played the game or a game for a while. They've got a rough idea how they want things to go, and they're not afraid to improvise, because this is going to be one where the characters will wander off. They will do things you don't expect, but it's nice, it's simple, but with complexity behind it. So that's the 4th chapter reviewed. We'll have a look at some of the other chapters in other videos. Speak to you soon.